Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got 3 replays in the British Tier 9 Tech Tree Tank Destroyer, the Conway. Now if you like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the Conway! It got changed in the, I say recent patch really, at this point when this video is probably going to come out, it's not really that recent anymore. But the last patch that came out with the big balance pass, the Conway got changed. Just like a lot of the other 120mm guns, it got its alpha upped, and it actually made a difference to the Conway. It's one of those that, like the Chieftain got its alpha buff to 440, and I feel like, for me personally, I preferred it with the lower alpha but the higher reload, so I could keep people permatracked. Yeah, you could do that with the Conway previously, and it's not as easy to do that now. But the raw, ferocious DPM that this vehicle has, with that 440 alpha that it's now got, is actually really beautiful. And genuinely, the Conway is very, very good. It's a little bit sad because this gun is the best gun for the tank by a mile now, whereas beforehand it was the best gun for the tank, but you could still pick the big gun and have a laugh and it still be somewhere competitive compared to this gun. But this 120mm gun is now absolutely filthy, and it is a fantastic tier 9 tank destroyer. It really is. So, what got changed in that balance pass that they did at the start of this season? Well, it got its reload nerfed from 7.8 seconds to 8.3 seconds, and its alpha went from 400 to 440. So it basically kept its DPM that it had previously, but its alpha went up to 440 alpha, which generally, when you have the same DPM but a higher alpha, it's that 111.5A versus Chi-Lin argument, where you've got basically the same DPM, or you had basically the same DPM when they came out, but having that higher alpha was better, because that opportunity where you only got the one chance to shoot at someone, it was more impactful to hit them for 440, say, than to hit them for 400 when you only got the opportunity to fire once. So it's a big change for the tank generally, and like I say, it's personal preference. Like for me personally, when the change on the Chieftain, I'm not a big fan of the 440, I'd have much rather had the faster reload. But to be honest, on the Conway, it's felt like a beautiful change, as that alpha and the rolls you get is a lot different, except for when you pop people's lids like that for 602. But you get the point. For the Conway, for those chances where you only get to shoot once, it has been a lovely change, and the DPM is absolutely ferocious, it's absolutely monstrous. I don't think anything should have that level of DPM, to be fair, and it's one of those things that probably is going to be addressed whenever the equipment and consumable changes happen. But there you go. So the Conway, it's got a 40km/h top speed, 15km/h reverse speed, 950 horsepower engine, which is 18.62 horsepower per ton ratio, which means you fly to the top speed of 40 very, very easily, but you do feel limited with your top speed at 40 in the Conway, as it does feel a bit slow with that 40km/h top speed. 10% internal fire chances on the low end of fire chances, and it doesn't get set on fire that often unless it gets shot in the engine with a high caliber gun. 32 degrees a second on the hull rotation speed means it does turn pretty decently quickly on its tracks. It's not incredibly fast, but it's good enough. Ground resistances don't hold the tank back whatsoever. They're very good ground resistances. 302 meters of still concealment with the build that I run, with 311 meters of on the move concealment with the build that I run, is also very, very nice for the tank, and it helps you stay unspotted in quite a few situations, and also helps you sneak into position without getting spotted too, which is definitely lovely. 486 meters of view range is good enough for the Conway. It's not great view range, as that's probably the average of most tier 8s, but it's still good enough for you to be able to spot for yourself in the Conway, especially with decent camo. 23.89 degrees a second on the turret rotation speed is a hell of a lot slower than the tracks, and it is very, very slow turret traverse, but that is indicative of a lot of turreted tank destroyers, so it can be annoying for sure, but it's a turreted tank destroyer, it's what happens. 0.5 accuracy during rotation, with a 1.92 accuracy during movement. Now, the 0.5 accuracy during rotation is amazing, and that's without snapshot. So that's very, very good, but the 1.92 accuracy during movement is not as good, and it means the aim circle does bloom out a wee bit while you're moving the tank, which again is typical of a lot of tank destroyers that have turrets. Generally, they tend to have pretty poor accuracy during movement. You've got 1.75 second aim time though, which means that when you do come to a stop to aim this gun, it does aim in very, very quickly. And with a 0.26 accuracy at 100 meters, oh my lord, this gun is stupidly accurate. It is a fantastic gun, and it helps you hit those shots with that raw DPM that is insane. You do have 10 degrees of gun depression, which is lovely for the Conway. Back in the day, the Conway used to have, I think it was 5 degrees of gun depression, same as the Charioteer. That was a horrible time. But 10 degrees of gun depression is extremely flexible for the Conway. It means you're very, very good on the ridgeline. It is definitely very, very nice for the tank. You've got a 6.05 second reload, which is 4.3, nearly 4.4k DPM, which is utterly bonkers for 440 alpha. It really, really is. As we finish that game with the 3 kills, 4.9k damage, 1232 assistance, first class, 1837 base XP. But yeah, 4.4k nearly DPM is just utterly insane. It really is. You got 259 penetration on the standard AP, 326 penetration on the premium APCR, and 120mm of penetration on the standard HESH rounds, or the HE rounds, which are fantastic, by the way. They are lovely HE rounds, and they will pen so many vehicles that you don't think that you could actually pen with, and it is wonderful. You saw the use of them against the Batchat in the previous replay. You're going to see the use of them probably again at some point in this replay or the next replay. They are very, very good HE rounds. Don't underestimate how good that 120mm of penetration is for the 530 alpha that those HE rounds have. And you do have the 440 on the standard AP and premium APCR as well, which is good enough penetration to go through most vehicles you are going to face. With 1,067 meters a second shell velocity on the standard AP and a 1,334 meters a second shell velocity on the premium APCR, the APCR velocity is amazing, and you will feel a massive difference in the velocity when you switch from AP to APCR. And it is very, very nice for the tank indeed to be able to not have to give too much lead at distance to be able to hit your shots with those premium rounds. The standard round, you do have to give a little bit of lead, as it is slightly above average in terms of the velocity, and that can feel a bit, not poor, but it can feel a bit of a letdown for the tank at times. And when you switch to the APCR, that's where you go, oh boy! You know, it's that kind of change when you get to that velocity. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment to get those kinds of statistics on the old vehicle? Well, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Steady Aim, Run and Gun, Camouflage Expertise, Silent Driving, Muffled Shot, with the Advanced Loader, the Camo Net, and Optics. Optics, you're able to get the 486 meters of view range, so I can spot myself quite nicely in the Conway. With the Camo Net to get the concealment down to that 302 meters of still concealment and 311 meters of on-the-move concealment with the Silent Driving. Muffled Shot to reduce the effect of firing on my camo when I fire this gun as well, especially since I'll be firing very quickly, very often. It's nice to be able to keep that camo down while firing, so I can try and stay unspotted if I'm using bush cover. The Advanced Loader to get the best out of the DPM, as that's what you really want to do all the time in this vehicle, so that you can have that insane DPM. And then Steady Aim to make the general accuracy of the tank better, and Run and Gun to get that accuracy during movement down as low as I can, so that the aim circle doesn't bloom out that horrifically while I'm on the move, and I don't have to sit there and wait for the 1.75 second aim time. Which isn't really a chore, because the aim time is insane on this vehicle, and it just aims in stupidly quickly, so you don't really feel it anyway, but there you go. And you don't really need snapshot because, yeah, like I say, the accuracy during rotation is already absolutely fantastic on this vehicle, and you better off being served by running one of the other camo perks instead. But yeah, the Conway is like I say, the buff to it, the change to it, giving it the 440 alpha is lovely. The tank itself is great because that DPM is insane. And if you get yourself into farming locations, you just trash the vehicles so quickly. And it's one of those vehicles that you don't quite realise how fast you end up looking at your damage and going, how have I reached that already? What happened? And if you get a smorgasbord of enemy vehicles to sit here going, hello, I'm here to farm. Yeah, it's a lovely, lovely time. And to be fair, you're going to see that in both of these replays. The one thing you'll have to do as well in this vehicle, if you're playing it, is pay attention to your ammunition count. Because with how fast it fires, it runs out of ammo very, very quickly. Especially if you miss a few shots, because you don't realise it. All of a sudden you look at your ammo and go, oh, I've not got any rounds left. And if you're an idiot like me, sometimes you don't pay attention to your ammunition too much, or enough, I should say, and then you realise too late, oh boy, I've been wasting ammunition when I should have saved for a little bit. Bit of spoilers there for the next game. But anyway, we're already up to 4.2k damage here on this game on Live Oaks. 1,126 resistance. We were going after this Conway. Artillery smacked us, which means we're now a one-shot for that Conway, which is kind of awkward. But with the Conway getting shut down there by the Conqueror, we load the HESH rounds, or the HE rounds, to go after the GW Tiger Pig. I boo-booed. I absolutely boo-booed when I did that. And that is, I didn't actually mean to switch to AP. I was trying to load the Hesh rounds, and I went, no, I've not loaded the Hesh rounds. And I switched to the next round and went, oh, no, I did. And I'm now reloaded, and he got spotted in that moment as well. It was just such bad timing and one of those fumble moments, but there you go. We've got the HE in this time. We put it in 584 there into that M5355. That's the roll we want to see with that HE. We're up to 5.2k damage with 1126 assistance. They've got 4 tanks coming out of the town currently, and there's 2 other tanks left alive. So we want to get to the hill at C6 so I can start shooting the people as they come out of the town, because they are crossing into the open field in front of me. If someone goes to spot them, we should be able to farm them. And like I say, with the Conway, because it's got that amazing DPM, it's got that amazing gun handling, it's one of those vehicles that if you get it into the farming location, you're going to have a wonderful, wonderful time. So that Waffle Panzer IV is getting absolutely slapped, which is great. His hit points have gone. Once that guy's gone, I'll be able to stay unspotted while farming the people that cross in the 2 line. So we're just going to go over, put the shot into the Waffle Panzer IV there, finishing him off, securing our 3rd kill of this game. So the Tiger Mouse is crossing in the open. I put the shot towards his side, but sadly, it ends up doing no damage whatsoever. But he gets tracked. So we put the shot out towards his side. You can see the velocity change there, by the way, with the APCR. It is fantastic velocity, and you really do feel the difference in that velocity. But, yeah, we put the shot out towards his side there. We could have actually kept that Tiger Mouse tracked on that ridgeline. It would have been better if we'd made sure to aim the shot, but, yeah, hey-ho, we just got the damage in. So, they're currently unspotted, but we know that people are starting to move forward to go spot them, so we're just going to have to play patient. We don't have the hit points to go forward, number one. If we get spotted and shot, we're just going to die. So you've seen us track the M46 Pattern Career. I wanted to retrack him, but we spot the G-Saw. I went for his track and it didn't happen. M46 Pattern Career, shot into the side. Doesn't retrack him. I can really do with tracking him because it's going to not be long before he ends up getting into cover. And that's the shot that we wanted, right there, into that drive wheel. But you can see, if they've got track mechanic, you struggle to actually perma-track them anymore. But that Tiger Mouse gets tracked out in the... Well, he was out in the open. We managed to put a shot straight through his drive wheel, and he starts pulling back, which means we can't actually get any more shots into him because he's behind there. There's 3 other tanks left, though. We know there's one in the bowl at G2, and since our team's all closed down that hill, with our campy hill that is, at E2, we need to get over there ourselves. So we can go hull down, use that 10 degrees of gun depression, be nice and flexible on that ridgeline, and we can start poking over, try and eliminate these guns out of the game, because they're all fairly low health. But they're all still in the game, and it doesn't matter how much HP you have in this game, you still have a gun that hits just as hard. So if you have 1 HP, you're just as effective as a tank that's full health. Which is why it's always important to just keep your gun in the game, generally. So the Tiger Mouse gets shut down by the Conqueror. We're going to go over with our APCR loaded. I know that with this APCR round, we should be able to shut down the ICE Desmond 2-2 really easily, which we do. Can only Jagdpanzer 105 in front of us, so I decide, okay, HE's going in. I'll kill the M46 Pattern KL with the HE, but we can pen this guy, and we flinch it. But we're going to get the opportunity to do it again, and we don't need the HE anymore. Great times! If only we'd not rushed it. And so we would have had more damage there on that kind of Jagdpanzer 105, but it is what it is. We finished with the victory, the 5 kills, 8.1k damage, 1,126 assistance damage, the Ace Tanker, the Pascucci's Medal, the Confederate, the High Caliber, with that 2.3k base XP. A fantastic game there for the Conway on Live Oaks. And yeah, I tell you, it's only going to get better from there. And you might be going, you did 8.1k damage. How can it only get better from there? Well, yeah, this game's a game. This is a game. This is the definition of a game. Yep, there we go. So, we're in the 3rd replay. We're here in this tier 10 matchup on Swamp. The Fraternite gets spotted by our light tank crossing up the 0 line, which is why I like to come here. We aim it up, put the shot straight through the side of that Fraternite, and that's the only shot we're really going to get at that dude as he gets himself safe. We're going to get a better angle here to try and shoot this E50M, because we can try and get some more shots into him before he crosses the 0 line, but he gets unspotted just as we fire that shot, which tracked him. So if he's repaired it, he's used his repair kit right now, which is great. So we're going to go try and spot this this E50M in our Conway. We do manage to spot him, wait for the shot. He ends up getting tracked, which is what I was trying to wait for. I was trying to make sure I was going to hit that back drive wheel. But with the DPM, he's clearly not using a track mechanic crew, and we made sure that we kept him permatrack there, and the Progetto 65 ends up finishing him off. We're up to 1,674 damage with 855 assistance damage so far. Really nice start to the game with one tier 10 medium tank out the game as well as a tier 9 light tank. But there seems to be no one else crossing this 0 line, so we're going to go try and see if there's anything camping on the ledge at G8, because there usually is. And just as we poked over the ridgeline, we ended up finding Mr. Centurion Action 10. We tried to start the shot into his cupola, but it went straight over that guy, which, you know, at this sort of angle, we can pen the cupola of a Centurion Action 10. It's what you want to be aiming for, especially if you're aiming down on that guy's turret. So he pokes out round the side. I'm going to see if I can get a shot into him, and to be honest, I should have reacted so much faster to that Centurion Action 10. He was completely out around that corner, and I could have shot him, I could have tracked him, I could have done anything there. I just didn't react quick enough. So we're going to poke around and see if we can see anything that's camping on the ridge where that FV215B does get spotted. So we're just waiting for the FV to give us a better chance of a shot, and with him angling his upper plate down there, we managed to put the AP shell straight through his upper plate for 493, by the way. Quite a nice roll. And the Centurion Action 10 decided at the same time to drive out sideways on. So we put a shot through the side of his turret, another shot through the cupola there. You can see me aiming for that cupola. He doesn't seem that bothered though, so we end up putting the shot through the side of his turret to finish him off. I'm not sure what that Centurion Action 10 was doing, but he decided death was the prime course of action. So we're up to 3.2k damage with 855 assistance. Really nice game so far. We're only 3 minutes into this game, and at the minute we're actually losing. We're actually losing this game. It's not going brilliantly. So we are going to close the distance now along to the ledge that I was talking about earlier on, because people, like I say, like to camp this ridge. And as we're on the way, we end up spotting the FV215B again. We also see the Centurion AVRE, the recently nerfed Centurion AVRE, which beforehand would have been a right pain to deal with. Sure, yeah, naturally, it's still a toxic gun. That gun will still derp us for 1,400 if we're not careful. And we're a Conway, we don't really have any armour, so unless he... The thing is, if he hits the turret front with his 170 pen, he might actually not pen us. But if he hits us with the 220 pen, he will. But if he hits anywhere on a hull, he's just killing us. So we have to be very, very careful. But the thing is, if we had his frontal armour beforehand, we probably wouldn't pen him, unless we hit the turret roof and we're shooting slightly down, like we can be here. But now, I can shoot him through that dozer blade. And with the penetration I have, it means I can actually deal with him frontally no matter what. Which is what the change to the AVRE is nice for. Because it didn't really change much about the gun, but the fact that I can actually now reliably shoot that guy through the front. And it doesn't even have to be, I'd say, when I made the video about the nerf of that tank, I kind of wish that that dozer blade that I shot through then was still the same thickness, because that's the bit that you shouldn't really pen. But the fact that I can actually now go through his lower plate if I wanted to is a thing of beauty. Because beforehand, even with this Conway, shooting the APCR or the AP, I'd have a lot of shots that I'd fire at that lower plate and it'd just ricochet, which is a sad time. But I digress. We are now putting shots into the griller. We're aiming for that track, which we've managed to get. He's been distracted by the fact that there's a medium tank on my left as well, and he's kept flicking between me and that medium tank on my left. So we kept taking the opportunity to just poke around the corner, be cheeky, and get damage into that griller, get that big gun out of the game. We're up to 7,000 damage with 1228 assistance damage, and that FV215B has got himself into a very, very good position. And that is a position that I don't want to deal with. So we drive out to see if we can get a shot into the E100. We managed to high roll, finishing him off with a shot through the side of his turret. And this is where I haven't been paying attention to my ammunition count. Because I haven't realised, I didn't think about it even at the time when I felt that shot go into the turret of the E100. I'm starting to run out of ammunition, and I haven't thought about it at all. So we've managed to get the shots into the E100. We're trying to get to a better position to get some flanking shots into the FV215B, and Mr. Mouse has drove out straight in front of us. So we're going to take the opportunities to get some shot into him. But I don't really want to take a hit from him at this moment in time. There's also the 268 on my left, which is keeping him distracted as well. So I'm just trying to get shots into him without him trying to get shots into us. You know, taking it as careful as possible as I can. There's a Ruthless down below at G3. We don't know where the other TD is, but we know where these two are in front of us, so we need to deal with these guys. So we've put a shot in towards the side of the turret of the mouse, bounce the first one, the second one goes straight through the side of his turret. And he's trying to back up, but he's backing up into a building, which means it's going to be difficult for him to even get away at this point. And if I can just keep... And this is where the DPM is utterly vicious. If I can just keep him in a position where I can keep farming like this is a thing of beauty for the Conway, as we are racking up damage so fast. We're up to 9,200 damage nearly. So we're just looking for that shot into the lower plate, and at that angle we bounce, because that is a very well-angled mouse at that point. And we bounce that shot. This is a shot that we shouldn't take. At that angle, I was never going to pen it. Ever. And I think at this moment is where I go, oh, I've only got 2 rounds of APCR left. Which means I've really got to make this round, these last 2 rounds count. I've got 1 dodgy shot chance, and by dodgy shot I mean one that I think that I might be able to pen, but it's also a 50-50 as to whether we hit the right spot to be able to pen it. And then we've got one where we've got to make sure. And then we're on to the fantastic HE rounds at 120 pen. So the mouse, I'm going to need the APCR rounds for. The 120 pen, though, I could use on the FV4004B. So I went for the shot for the mouse's turret cheek, because 326 pen could go through the turret cheek of a mouse angled like that. But sadly, just as I was pulling the trigger, he shot me and killed my gunner. And when he killed my gunner, my shot went miles away. So we missed that shot with the vital round of APCR. So with that mouse knowing where I was, I decided, okay, I'm going to reposition, see if I can get a better angle for a shot at that guy. I poke over, can't see the mouse. He's either moved further behind that building, or I just can't see him. For whatever reason. And in fact, he's just been spotted. So I decide, okay, screw it. Gonna go get an even better angle. Go back to where we were. Because if I go back to where we were and go to the corner at G9, or G8, I should say really, I am definitely gonna have a shot into the side of the mouse. Definitely. It's whether I get the shot off into the side of the mouse or he has a good enough angle for me to finish him off. Because we're definitely going to finish him off with the APCR round. 440 alpha, the HP is on. Unless we get extremely unlucky, we should kill him in one shot. And if not, then we can try and splash him to death with the HE. Hello, Mr. Mouse. Shot into the side of his turret. Finish him off. And now we're down to those HE rounds. That's all we've got left. Which does make this engagement very, very awkward. But again, an FV4004B with 120mm of penetration on the HE. If I get his rear, I can pen that. Engine deck, I can pen that. I can try and just splash his turret with the HE, and I'll probably do 200 damage odd. I might even have a chance of going through his lower plate. But that truly is a 50-50 to hit that HE round through the lower plate and for it to pen. So we see the Ruthless, and in fact, it was a second Ruthless. I didn't realise there was 2 left alive, so I thought that, the Ruthless is splashable, it's fine. But the other Ruthless had died, and the Ruthless that's still alive has 653 hit points, which means we have to pen him. If I get his side and I avoid the spaced armour, I should be able to pen it again, because it's fairly weak. And that's where the HE rounds are great, so he's poked out to try and get a shot into the E100. We aim above his tracks, into the side of that Ruthless, and the HE round goes in. It low rolls, but it goes in, securing us 10,079 damage. We go over to try and just derp the FV4004B to death. But we hit the side of his turret, the thickest part, where I thought I might be able to just RBRT it, so it didn't do any damage. But we managed to angle ourselves, so we got the shot into his engine deck, finishing him off. Aim up the shot with the HE round, which I was pretty sure I only needed to really splash the Ruthless, there with the Conway. And we did, securing our 6th kill of the game. We finished with the victory, 6 kills, 10,287 damage, 1228 assistance damage, with the ace tanker, the sniper, the high caliber, the top gun, 2,946 base XP. An amazing game there for the Conway, and it's funny how you end up not hitting 10k for ages and then hit 10k twice in 1 week. Well, 11k with the ABRE, but there we go. But that's the Conway. It's been changed. It's got 440 alpha now instead of the standard 400 it used to have, and it's a pretty damn fantastic tank destroyer. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success.